Welcome to the initiative.
Hello and welcome to the initiative. I've got a really cool video for you guys today. As you can see, to my left is Evan FILARCA.
Hey, true believers. I'm
Yeah.
very honored to be here. Thank you, Carlos, the initiative, for bringing me on. It's a true honor.
And today we're going to be talking about our concerns with the Avengers game, because we have quite a few, Obviously, I'm very positive about this game. I think the game is going to be really good no matter what. Like, I've seen enough to be sold on it. But to be truly exceptional, it does need to have a few things that we haven't seen just yet. And the first thing that I want to talk about is team gameplay. Now, from what we've seen of the gameplay, I believe that playing as Captain America will make me feel like I'm Captain America. I believe that playing as Iron Man will make me feel like I'm Iron Man. All of their individual gameplay looks really cool. But the title of the game isn't Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk. It's Avengers. And to feel like I'm part of the Avengers, I need to be able to lead them or feel like I'm working in a team. And I think the multiplayer will make you feel that way, but I also want that experience in the single player. So I would like to see if there's any interaction at all with team members when you're playing solo. Like, if I'm playing Captain America, can I command Iron Man to attack a guy for me? That'd be really cool. But that is the first concern. I haven't seen any of that in the gameplay, and I think that would help sell the game and make it more unique. So that's my first concern. But what do you think, Evan?
I totally agree, because that's one of the weirdest things that we kind of saw from the footage that was shown off during Comic-Con behind closed doors, and now it's available from Gamescom, is the A-Day demo, where, they clearly want us to be introduced to the Avengers, how you play as Thor, how you play as Iron Man. But then they're saying you can do it with co-op. You can play it with three other players, total of 4 players online with your friends. But if you're playing as the Avengers together as a group, you can use all these cool moves simultaneously. Like, you can use the Unibeam as Iron Man, I can use Mjolnir as Thor, and we can, attack all these enemies all at once, which sounds great. But are there going to be team-up moves, as an example, Ultimate Alliance 2 or 3, where they have those synergy team-up moves where, or in the movies where Thor hits Captain America's shield and there's a huge explosion, or Iron Man shoots off a repulsor blast off of Cap's shield, anything like that. I think that's a necessity. I honestly think that needs to be in the game if you're going to make a team-up Avengers game. Granted, it is going to try and be hard to implement that mechanic in a co-op game and online features, or even single player. I think it could be managed through single player, but the fact that these gameplay mechanics are going to be transitioning both through the single-player campaign and the online experience, it may seem a bit hard for them to try and feature that in a cohesive way. But I definitely think that is something that needs to be in the game if it is going to be fully shown off as a full-on team-up Avengers game. Because, that's people's dreams to play that out, actually team up with Captain America and Thor, or whoever the great combination you can think of as a kid. And I've always wanted to see Black Panther and Iron Man do this, or whatever. And imagine doing that as a gameplay mechanic. I feel that definitely needs to be added in one way or another in this game to truly have it stand out from the other online co-op games out there. Now, for me, I kind of have a little snippet of a concern relating to the wider scope of what the game is going to feature down the line. And specifically, I definitely think it relates to what they've said numerous times, is that there's content years to come content that we can expect even after the main launch in May 15th, 2020. And I know Carlos has a great point about it, but my point is that I definitely think that this content should be hopefully adding to the game, but not in a way that makes it feel like it's incomplete. So when they're saying that we're going to add new regions, new heroes, no additional cost, and we're going to have it so that everyone playing it can feel like they can always jump in and experience something new, how much are we actually going to get within the game when we actually start to play it at release. So when we have the 5 core Avengers, Hulk, Black Widow, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and then the other 2 that we know, Miss Marvel and Ant-Man, and most likely Hawkeye. So that's already like what, 8 people that we know of so far in the main roster? Is that the only crew that we're going to get at launch, and then they're going to lock off these other characters down the line? And is it going to feel like when we do these co-op missions, you can play these missions, and when you beat them, you'll unlock more missions down the line? How much content will there be at the base game? And if they do have a lot of content for years to come, and it turns out to be like one of the biggest expansive games out there, that's great. But since Square Enix is behind it, you know, they kind of do some interesting stuff, I'll say, with their marketing of their games, and also when they produce games and publish them and develop them, they sometimes don't really follow all the way through with what they're promising to their player base. So I really hope, though, for the Avengers case, that it can actually seem like a fully fledged game at launch and down the line. But I know you have a really great point about that too.
No, yeah, the base game is like very important that it's successful. And right now, you were saying about heroes and the characters that will be in the base game. I'm telling you right now, if Black Panther isn't in the base game, not only I will be upset, but I think
Yes.
a lot of other people are going to be very upset. Yeah.
Problem. Yeah.
So the base game really does need to sell everyone. And I think an important part of that is one of the other points that I was going to bring up, and that's that the narrative has to be satisfying within the initial game. Like, obviously, there's going to be expansions that expand on the story and the lore, sure. But if that initial story mode isn't, if that initial campaign doesn't tell a satisfying, like, emotional journey for the characters, if like not a lot of action happens and stuff like that, that's really gonna like diminish like excitement and, you know, people's like motivation to play and buy the game. So that is a big concern for sure. Like the incomplete
Absolutely.
microtransactions. I think you're gonna talk about that next, possibly.
Right.
But
But no, I totally agree. Like, if they have all these characters planned out, and like it's the Avengers, the Marvel universe, you can play as all these heroes together all at once with co-op, with single player. That's great. But then we know already that they're going to save a lot of that down the line with regions and heroes added at a regular basis for years to come. So what, are we going to have to wait until like 2021 to play as Black Panther, or 2022 to play as Doctor Strange, who totally deserves his own solo game, by the way? I don't know. Like, what is going on with these character drops, these region updates? So that's what concerns me. And say like, oh, there was a problem with the development, we couldn't really get this character out on time, so he's going to be delayed until the next couple months. So that's what concerns me, because this live service game they're trying to promote, it's like, well, it's not really a live service game. It's a new element. It's a new entity you've never really seen before in the gaming industry with the Avengers. It's like, well, you're saying that, but is it going to deliver? That's what I'm worried about. Are these promises that they're saying, will they follow through with it? And I really hope they do. Which also directly relates to another aspect about promises, that no content from the game that will be added into it is going to relate to gameplay enhancements. So no pay-to-win scenarios, no random loot boxes like EA or whatever, any of those types of games that they make, like looter shooters, Anthem. Luckily, they said nothing in the game from now up until launch, up until the future years of content. None of the added stuff will relate to gameplay enhancements, pay-to-win scenarios, or anything like that. That's great, because that is something that we always wanted to see as a game with actual traits to it that respects the players. Like, you're buying this game already. We don't want to have you buy more stuff just to get a piece of gear that will increase a specific stat. That's not going to happen. Although, on the other spectrum, they are confirming microtransactions. They did confirm that back during E3, I believe, right when they showed the A-Day trailer. But now we know for a fact that microtransactions will 110% be in the game, and they're only related to cosmetics. So it is what we theorized before. It wasn't confirmed yet, but these microtransactions do relate to cosmetic items that you can unlock for each Avenger. So if you want a different suit for Iron Man or Captain America, you're going to have to pay for it through microtransactions. And with all the content they're adding, with all the stuff they're going to put in the game, I understand it. It makes sense, and I respect them for only doing it for cosmetics. However, at the same time, what if these cosmetics relate to some really great looking suits? Like, what if all the cool suits that all the players want, Iron Man Mark 1 maybe, or any of the movie suits, or Captain America, the Hydra suit, or, Viking Thor 2.0, or I don't know, like Endgame Thor for some reason, if they put all the movie suits, what if all of them are behind the microtransaction paywall? Because what they also confirmed is that you can unlock outfits by playing the game, completing missions, unlocking gear. So you're going to have to grind for the best type of suit and equipment you want. But they also said that certain suits, specific suits only, can only be unlocked, gained through the use of paying with microtransactions. So say, for example, with Spider-Man PS4, say if the Raimi suit and all the MCU suits were behind microtransactions, and the only way that you could get those costumes is through paying more money to unlock them in the game. That's going to piss a lot of people off, but I understand why they're doing it because of all the free updates they're giving people. But the people who do really want a specific costume, the only way they're going to be doing it is to pay more money. And that's going to, I think, turn a lot of people off with this game. Me, I'm not too big on alternate suits. You know me, like, I love the suit with Spider-Man PS4. That's all the time. Even with New Game Plus, I still wear that suit because it's my favorite. And these new Avengers costumes, they look fine to me. And I'll probably stick with them throughout the main game because that's like the default suit. That's the main suit that is related to this game's universe. So I'm not going to be too big on like the alternate suits that we saw with the original Sin armor or Mr. Fix-It Hulk. Even though that looks cool, I'll probably just play as normal Hulk. But for people out there who are really invested in alternate suits and different costumes and skins, this is going to be a big draw for them. And that's one of the other big aspects of the game is customization. So because everything cosmetic-wise seems to be locked behind the paywall, it's going to be a lot of divisiveness around the community, I think, once that is actually out for people to experience. But hopefully it all works out for the best.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the MCU suits are like you have to purchase them.
Right.
Hopefully that's not the case. But I mean, I don't know. Like, it's really interesting to me, like, just like the business side of it, and like, how are you going to keep adding so much to the game for so many years? Like, how are you going to keep making revenue as like a developer? I don't understand like that behind the scenes aspect of the gaming industry.
Right.
So that's really interesting to me. Um, but I am glad that the only microtransactions are going to be cosmetic. It's weird though, obviously, because we didn't have to deal with that with Spider-Man PS4, but this is more of like a multiplayer game, so I guess it's understandable. And they're going to be adding like a lot more. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. Because for Spider-Man PS4, you did have to pay for the DLC though.
Yes.
Yeah, I like because I had the season pass, so I like forgot I paid.
Yeah, me too. It's like, oh, I had to pay for these suits. That's right. I
Yeah,
didn't even realize.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, they have to make money somehow, right?
Yeah.
So I understand. Um, as long as we're getting those regions and those like additional characters, that's what I care about the most. And I'm still surprised, like to this day, that that's going to be free. I have no idea how that works.
I know, like
Yeah,
updates or something, like continuous updates free, no charge, but making the game bigger than what it already is at launch just through free updates, I guess. So
yeah.
I don't know. We're going to have to see how that works out.
Yeah, I don't know. But a lot of like my concerns are just things we don't know or we don't know yet, And it's kind of like a regular marketing cycle where there's like periods where nothing is released, and we're kind of in there right now where we're like, well, we've known about the game for so long and we still know so little. And I had a similar concerns like back when Spider-Man PS4 was first coming out. Like, we'd seen the footage at E3, but but before the Game Informer coverage, I was like, well, what's the combat like? It looks kind of bland. Like, what else can you do? And
Right.
my next concern about the Avengers game currently is stealth gameplay. I've brought this up in a previous video, I think, but I mean, the Avengers are tacticians, right?
Yeah.
There's an entire comic book series called Secret Avengers for a reason. You know, they infiltrate places. They're like a military squad. You know, they're like SEAL team. They're like SEAL team superhero. You know.
Right.
So are you gonna tell me there's no stealth gameplay? Like, they haven't spoken on it at all. They haven't like denied it. So there's still a possibility that it will be in the game. But I mean, personally, I haven't seen very many multiplayer games that are like stealth based, other than like Assassin's Creed Unity. Maybe The Last of Us multiplayer was kind of stealthy. But you know, this game has been compared to Anthem and Destiny a lot, and
Yeah.
neither of those two games feature any stealth, as far as I'm aware, right? So
No.
I would be a lot more interested if there was a stealth mechanic, and I hope that, you know, at the very least we see some story missions where you can take out people creatively or something, just to like, you know, give you a variety of choice, right? Like I've watched some gaming videos because I'm not like the craziest gamer, right?
Right.
But in preparation for the Avengers game, like I've been trying to do my research so that I can keep up with the community. And,
Right.
and I've seen that a lot of the gaming trends in like 2019 and onwards have to do with player choice. And so
Mm-hmm.
far, I'm not seeing a lot of player choice in Marvel's Avengers game beyond like picking what character you really want to play as and stuff like that. And that's exciting to me, but I would like to see more choice in like how you attack missions. So stealth is important to me for that reason, and that's one of my concerns.
Right. Especially when you have one of the most stealthiest and tactical Avengers on the team, Black Widow. And it would also add a lot more depth. Like, wow, so only Black Widow can do stealth takedowns. And imagine while everyone else is destroying people in these maps, these hub worlds where Iron Man's flying around blasting people, Thor's summoning lightning, Hulk smashing everyone. But then Black Widow can come in and take out people stealthily or go invisible and try and sneak up behind them or hack some stuff. I don't know. But there could be a whole layer of gameplay that they could add for her to make her unique and you know, influence people to try and play as her compared to the other people. But if it doesn't do that, then it's just going to feel like, well, they say that each character could be fitted in their own respective game. So this could come off as its own Captain America game. This could come off as its own Iron Man game. But what we see, each character still has the same traits carried over. So they have an L1 ability, R1 ability, L1 and R1 ability, light attacks, heavy attacks, dodge mechanics. But they could make it different as to how they approach certain levels and the hero missions, these single player missions. If Captain America has to go and fight people, but then what if you're Black Widow and the only way that you can get to Captain America is to stealth take down a bunch of thugs? So there's a lot of depth to it that could happen, but we don't know how the gameplay is going to work for the single player and even the co-op in the long run. We've only seen the A-Day demo, which is a tutorial mission, and that's it. And these, you know, the newest clips that just released now at the time of this recording of these online clips of Captain America fighting some AIM thugs in the snow, and that is like what the game is as itself. Like after A-Day, and then you're in these hub worlds, that's the game right there. So we got to see the full extent of that in action before we can make any judgments, which is why I'm still, you know, and we're still both in that zone. Like we know that they're working really hard on this. We know what their vision is. We're just hoping that it can be, you know, fully delivered at the time of launch. But some other people out there, because of the way on how it's currently being marketed, they're already, you know, throwing it aside like, this is trash, this isn't good, this looks like a bootleg Avengers game. You know, why the faces look like something from a PS2 game? Like they're totally being too harsh on it, in my opinion. But it's because, sadly, they're unaware as to what the game is. They don't know what the full extent of this game is, and they don't know what will be featured in it after the first mission, after A-Day. So that also leads to my last point that I have, is heavily relating to the story, which is another thing people are complaining about, is that this is directly copying Avengers Endgame, which it's not, because this game was in development probably way before Avengers Endgame was even announced, which it was, because we were expecting something to be announced on sometime in 2018, which they officially promised twice, first from Sean Eskai, who Carlos got to meet, and he's awesome. And also, we also got to get official confirmation again from the post of the trailer, the description, like more info will be revealed in 2018. Didn't happen, so that's already a red flag, in my opinion. But it's because that this is a big game. It's very ambitious, so they had to work on these things for a long time. It makes sense. I understand. But if this game was announced back in 2018 before Avengers Endgame came out, then the reverse would be happening. People would be saying, wait a minute, Avengers Endgame is directly copying the Avengers video game. 5 years later, the Avengers disband, they reassemble, and all that. But yeah.
And we saw like a similar thing happen back with PS4 Spidey, because the first like trailer came around Civil War, and people saw the eyes and they were like, they copied Civil War.
Yeah. Civil War.
Omniac they were already on the eye game. They were like, no, we did the lenses first. We didn't copy anything. So, you know, it's like a similar kind of thing going on with both of these games and both of those movies.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I hope that the main narrative, what they're saying, the Avengers disband. Heroes are outlawed. It's been 5 years since A-Day. We got to reassemble them, most likely as Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. And we got to get them each individually joining back the team. So you're going to be recruiting each Avenger as the game goes on. You'll be growing your team consistently. And it's just a lot in terms of how that's actually going to be played out for the narrative. And that's why, you know, Hulk already, oddly enough, if they are their own original stories, they had no connections whatsoever to Endgame. They didn't know that this was going to happen. Hulk is trapped in a Hulk state, and he can't go back to Bruce, which is weird because I thought Troy Baker said during Comic-Con that it was the opposite. He was Bruce. He doesn't want to turn back into the Hulk. But what they're saying now is that Bruce is trapped as Hulk, and he can't go back to a normal state. Thor quit being Thor. He left Mjolnir on Cap's memorial. Black Widow's her lone wolf spy self again, and Tony is depressed. He failed the world, he thinks, so he's kind of gone in a rut, and he's lost all his, tech and stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on that is drawing inspiration from themselves because it's their own game. They worked on it before Avengers Endgame. But if the story is like 1-to-1 direct beat to Endgame, I'm going to be a little bit agitated with that. I know that wasn't their plan. They had no, knowledge of the movie's development and all that. But this is the Avengers. The Avengers, the Marvel Universe Avengers, not the MCU with the Disney deal and all that. They can only use specific characters. Who knows if the Fantastic Four are in this game? Who knows if the X-Men are in this game? Who knows if there's going to be more Inhumans popping up? We don't know, which is why I'm upset where Troy Baker said that in the interview. Like, there's no way we'll be able to top what you saw in the MCU. We don't know that. Who knows what's going on? I know he probably didn't mean to say it like that, but I think there's a lot of potential with the story. We got AIM, we got Avengers, we got Terrigen Mist, we got Miss Marvel in the mix, who we've never seen before yet in the MCU until her show got announced. But there's going to be a lot of depth to the story that's going on here. Years to come narrative, multiple years telling this narrative, whatever that means. If there's going to be like the main campaign and then there's going to be more campaign stuff in the future years, we don't know. But there's a lot of potential here. That's why the president of Square Enix himself, Yosuke Matsuda, he says like this is going to be a gaudy contender, Game of the Year contender, emotional story, heavy-hitting narrative. It could possibly beat Spider-Man PS4 and surpass it. Who knows? We don't know what's going on, but I think there's a lot to go off of here, and that's what excites me a lot about it. It just is a matter of, can they deliver a truly emotional and original narrative that can separate itself from the MCU? That's why the people they're going, kind of different with the suits and the facial models. That's already a step away from the MCU, which is great. That's their take on it, visual-wise, appearance-wise. So now that is going to be shown in the story and how that goes from there. And I'm really hoping for the best possible scenario.
Yeah, I think differentiating themselves from the MCU is really important. And I think they have a lot of opportunities to do that. Like you said, Fantastic Four could enter there for sure. They're already kind of leaning into the Inhumans and AIM. And I think that's really cool because there's a lot of stuff they can beat the MCU to because, Disney bought Fox and they can use those characters now, but they haven't yet. So the Avengers game has the opportunity to beat the MCU in doing that first in many ways. But I can already see some MCU similarities. I'll give them the pass on the 5-year time gap and everything, but it's little things like in the dialogue, like when Thor says, like, fortunately, I am mighty and stuff like that. like that is a direct MCU line, you know? And
Yes.
little things like that, you know, I mean, they're not big plot threads, but
Yeah.
they're still like, no, don't do what they've done because they've
Mhm.
already done it, and you know, that's gonna hinder your like progress. You have to just be
Right.
yourself, you know, and you have lots of like potential characters to pull from. So I totally agree with that point. MCU influence is like worrisome, not because the MCU is bad, but just because, you know, we want something new. We want something like
Yes.
more comic-y, perhaps.
Mhm.
And, you know, at Comic-Con, I met Shauna Sky, and
Our
when,
boy.
when we were getting our posters signed, it's like right over there. I could go get it later. But when we were getting our posters signed, I was like trying to compliment him, but I was like, you know what? No, like I'm just gonna tell you, Doctor Doom, can he be in the game? Put him in. Like I was like I'm
Doom
not.
or bust.
Yeah, I was like, Sean, listen, I could compliment you. I could tell you anything. I'm just gonna say two things: Doctor Doom, yes or no. And he just looked at me like, anything is possible. Like
Yeah.
he said anything is possible. So I'm gonna remember that, Sean. I'm never letting that go
Yes.
because it's possible. You said so. Possible means you should totally go for it. And anyway, but anyway, this leads us to my last point. And you know, I think a lot of our points have to do with like setting the game apart and like learning more about it. And I think this last point is really important for me personally. And this is shared universe. And
Yes.
when I say that, I mean direct, like connecting to Spider-Man PS4. Now,
Yes.
when I bring this up online sometime, oh, am I getting lag here?
Oh, I think you're okay.
Okay. But when I bring this up online about connecting Avengers game with Spider-Man PS4, a lot of people say like, "Oh, it doesn't have to be connected for it to be good. They can tell."
Mhm.
And it's like I agree. It doesn't
Yeah.
be like being connected like or not connected doesn't stop it from telling a good story and having good gameplay,
Mhm.
but being connected is nonetheless like a really big selling point because if you connect this to Spider-Man PS4, suddenly I want to know more about the history. I want to know how it
Mhm.
connects. I want to know when we're seeing them together. You know, you just build interest, and it's never. I don't think this has been done in the gaming universe
No.
before. Like, I don't think any gaming franchise has done this. So not only are you setting yourself apart, oh, but actually, you know what? Sony and Disney split up. You know, Spider-Man in the movie,
Oof.
it's not connected to the Avengers in the movies anymore. So
Right.
you can be like, well, hey, maybe the movies
One
are
them up.
connected, but our games are. If you want to see Spider-Man with the Avengers, play the game.
Bam.
But
Oh boy.
you
A
know,
one up. Oh
exactly.
man.
But, you know, there's just it's like I guess the shared universe thing is kind of more of like a marketing thing in a way,
Yeah.
but it definitely sells me. Like I think that's super interesting.
Absolutely.
And there's
And
all
like that's Oh,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. And there's already so many like dots that you can already connect. Like that's what my whole channel is. It's like Taskmaster, AIM, you know, the timeline. It all works.
It
So
totally works.
I don't know. I think the shared universe is important, but you know, obviously they're not going to confirm that until like the game comes out if it's actually connected. But that's my last
Right.
concern. I don't know, Evan. You got any more?
No, I totally agree with everything that you've said, and I think it's not it's not necessary to do. And obviously, we're not trying to say, oh, if Spider-Man PS4 is not connected to Avengers, then it's going to be a bad game. That's not what we're saying at all. We're saying that it would enhance the experience. It would be way more intriguing to see all these characters and their plots and their storylines connect in one way or another, either actually like narratively connecting Spider-Man to Avengers, where A Day's in 2015, Spider-Man's in 2018, the City That Never Sleeps pack is in 2019, and then the Avengers game post A Day is 2020. So if those timelines connect, that's going to be crazy. But I think it would just enhance the experience overall, and it would just be a whole lot cooler. Getting that prequel game for Spider-Man PS4 that we need, of course. Also teasing stuff for the potential sequel of Spider-Man if they were to connect him with the Avengers. But also, again, heavy indication PlayStation out of every other console is getting some exclusive content. What is that? We don't know, but Scott Amos, our boy, the head of Crystal Dynamics, he's saying, I think you guys will be pretty happy with what the content is. So I don't know what's going on. We have no clue, but I definitely think that the Avengers can stand on its own. Like, these characters are popular enough that Iron Man can sell the game. Captain America can sell the game. Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, they can all sell the game as it is. Spider-Man can sell his own game. It would just be a cherry on top. Because now, like you said, throughout the whole franchise of Batman Arkham, we get all these teases to the wider DC universe, the Justice League, Superman, Flash, in Arkham Knight specifically, you get those big name drops. Like, isn't that guy in Metropolis or Flash? And, what's that red blur on a poster you see? Like, so they're teasing this wider DC universe, but never connecting them because this is its own Batman game. Same thing with Spider-Man. It was a Spider-Man game, so that's why we don't see Iron Man flying around, but we see Avengers Tower. We see Rand Incorporated. We see Alias Investigations. We see all these wider teases to what this potential universe could be. And with such a rich history in this game's universe that Insomniac built, it would be such a cool thing to add upon that even more. Not to say we got to follow what Insomniac did, no, but expand it even further. What does this Marvel universe include with these characters? Are those Avengers the same Avengers that we see teased in Spider-Man PS4? He says they're on the West Coast, probably surfing or something. They're on the West Coast, in the Golden Gate Bridge. What's happening? We don't know. But if Spider-Man is somehow playable in this game, featured either as directly, this is the same Spider-Man we see in Spider-Man PS4, the advanced suit, Yuri Lowenthal, John Bubniak Spider-Man, it's him, or they have their own version of Spider-Man, who then you can wear the advanced suit as like a PS4 exclusive skin or whatever. We have no idea what's happening, but having the Marvel games connect in one way or another, I think would grow out what we've never seen the gaming industry happen before. Connective universes spread across different companies, different studios, multiple publishers, combining a narrative that connects to each other, with each other, continuing on for the next 5, 10 plus years with these upcoming games. It'd be nothing we've ever seen before, and it would be revolutionary for the superhero gaming realm and also for the video game industry itself. Imagine, like, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal team up with Sony and Insomniac and Marvel again to have all these universes combined, and then the next future game, well, if there's like an Avengers game down the line in 2020 or Doctor Strange solo game, Captain Marvel solo game, no, Mr. Fantastic Four game. We need that. We need all these universes to connect, because that way it would be insane, and it would be, most importantly, very profitable financially for both of them. Having Spider-Man in the Avengers would benefit not only Square Enix to have people buy the game more, saying, oh my God, Spider-Man from the Spider-Man game's in this, I gotta buy it now, but also support Insomniac. And Insomniac could then support Square Enix and Crystal, having all these games connect. Bill Roseman, genius. I think that there's such a huge potential here for what they can do in the future down the line with like another Avengers game, and like when the PS5's out, 5-10 years from now. Who knows? But a Marvel gaming universe would just be such a cool thing to see play out, and having these characters connect with these universes and these storylines combining into the same world, I think would just be such a wonderful thing to see. And if it doesn't happen, that's okay. No flack on Crystal or whoever's in charge of making that happen. If it doesn't happen, no worries. I'm just saying, as a fan and us as fans, I think it would be a really, really cool thing to see play out. But we can only cross our fingers on that front.
Yeah, so guys, those are our concerns. These are what we think, we're worried about the game, but we're excited at the same time. If you agree with our concerns, why don't you tell us in the comments down below, what are you worried about, or what are you excited about? What do you want from the game? And I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Share it with your friends. Let's get let's get Eidos and Crystal to see this video.
Yes.
I hope you have a great day. We're excited about October. We're going to be hearing more about the Avengers game in October, so hopefully we get some new reveals then. Maybe we get a Hawkeye reveal or something.
Yes. Doom reveal.
Yeah, I get Doom. No, I think we'd more likely be getting like a Kamala Khan gameplay reveal. But anywho,
that'd be cool.
Anywho, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day, and peace out.
Bye, true believers.